Thank you, Father. Up next, we have Matt McDonough from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Matt is a senior in the college who will graduate Phi Beta Kappa with majors in economics and English and a minor in mathematics. In addition to working on the GAAP board, Matt has served as a blue and gray tour guide, an economics tutor, and the supervisory chairman and loan officer at the Georgetown University Alumni and Student Federal Credit Union, the largest student-run financial institution in the world. Matt was also the student co-chair of the George F. Baker Scholar Program, Georgetown's flagship program for pursuing business with social consciousness and intellectual curiosity. After spending his sophomore summer taking courses at Georgetown's Villa La Valls in Florence, Italy, Matt spent last summer in New York City interning at Goldman Sachs, where he will be returning to work full-time in July. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Matt McDonough.
Future members of the Georgetown class of 2017. Having experienced the past 12 GAAP weekends, I have found that the overwhelming question of these 2 days, the question you should all think about as you leave campus tomorrow afternoon is this my home? What is home? My favorite English professor, Michael Collins, likes to quote Robert Frost on this one. Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. We have done our part. Because of your impressive accomplishments, personalities, and backgrounds, we just had to take you in. The ball is in your court. We had to take you in, but do you have to go here? As you think about that, let me tell you about how Georgetown has been and will continue to be a home for me. From the time I was born, my parents and grandparents were constantly reading me stories. Among these was the classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And like many kids, I experienced the Disneyland ride and Disney movie depictions of this timeless tale. Now, I don't know about all of you, but when I came to Georgetown, I expected to read the likes of Shakespeare, Faulkner, Fitzgerald, and Hemingway. So I was a little surprised to find Snow White on the syllabus for my freshman seminar. It turned out that the assignment was actually to watch and analyze the Disney movie. And if you're like me, you'll come to Georgetown and realize that you absolutely cannot be productive in your dorm room. So I decided to analyze Walt Disney's classic on my laptop on the quiet floor of the library. There I was, a scrawny freshman plugged into my headphones, with the Seven Dwarfs and animals racing all over my computer screen. I don't even have to tell you what kinds of looks I was getting. Someone might as well have come up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and asked, "Who let the first grade girl into Georgetown University?" It was all worth it, though. My professor connected this simple story, one of the first that I had ever heard, to the Christian faith and resurrection, the guiding light in my life. This part of my childhood, my home life, was ameliorated and intensified by my new home at Georgetown. Sports are another channel through which my home life has translated to Georgetown. First, from the negative perspective. One of the major projects of my upbringing was to curb my intensity, especially over things that I cannot control. Now, admittedly, that's just a euphemistic way of saying I needed to learn how to control my temper during sports games. I made progress throughout my childhood, but Georgetown is where I have really matured in this regard. See, Georgetown basketball games are community events, not just basement game watches with family and close friends. So my outbursts over turnovers and missed layups were initially met with raised eyebrows and open mouths and comments like, "Matt, are you serious?" Needless to say, I've come a long way on the hilltop because I've had to, in a positive sense. My passion for basketball was born from my dad teaching me about the game throughout my youth. He taught me about a full court press in a 2-3 zone, and at Georgetown I have seen my school, my peers, conquer such defenses. He taught me what it means to storm the court, which is why when Georgetown shellacked Syracuse to win the Big East title, and that's how I choose to remember this season. And I sprinted to center court at the Verizon Center with my best friends. I knew exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it. My dad taught me about basketball, and Georgetown has brought basketball to life. How about outside the Healy gates, off Georgetown's campus? Following my sophomore year, I decided to engage in a study abroad program in Florence, Italy, housed in Georgetown's Villa La Balls for a month with 20 other Georgetown students, a Georgetown professor, and an acclaimed Italian chef. This month was intellectually and culturally enriching. The travel there, however, was not so glamorous. I'd never been outside the country before, so the 12-hour flight was quite a shock. Groggy and overwhelmed, I knocked on the front door of the villa, and to my surprise, was greeted by Father Kevin O'Brien, Georgetown's vice president for mission and ministry. Now, Father O'Brien was unaffiliated with the program. He didn't have to be there, but he was there to wish me well nonetheless. I was 5,000 miles away from campus, but I was still at Georgetown, and Georgetown is home. With all these incredible experiences awaiting you, you may be wondering how one ever leaves this place. Well, this past summer, I got a taste of life after graduation. Utilizing my Georgetown education and network, I was fortunate enough to land an internship at Goldman Sachs in New York. My program was intense, with 25 bright undergrads, all striving to get awarded a full-time offer, a reward largely contingent upon a 5-minute stock pitch that we'd have to present to senior management at the end of the summer. Towards the beginning of the summer, I had had a casual conversation with my Baker Scholars mentor, an '86 Georgetown grad, now a hedge fund manager in New York City. I must have casually mentioned the day by which I had to have my stock pitch prepared, because the night before I had to present, I got a call from him saying, "All right, let's hear the pitch." This brought me back to all the presentations I gave in grade school and high school, which I would have to give a run-through of to my mom the night before. In this instance, when she did not have quite the expertise to help me, a Georgetown presence was there to fill the void. I may have been in New York. I may have been doing nothing academic, but this was still Georgetown. I was still home. If I asked all of you where home is, I would receive a collection of cities big and small, near and far. But in the next few days, you have the unique opportunity to create a unity out of this diversity by accepting a new home in Georgetown. We had to take you in, but do you have to come here? Only you can answer that question. But as you do, I hope you now realize what kind of a home I'm talking about. Georgetown does not separate you from your past. It builds on it. It forces you to realize all your great ambitions and demonstrate your defining characteristics more fully, a principle the Jesuits call the magis, meaning more. This new home is not limited to this room, this campus, or this city. It extends all over the world. Most powerfully, this new home does not shut its doors after 4 years. It stays with you for the rest of your life. I offer you my sincere congratulations, class of 2017, and let me be audacious enough to say, welcome home.